Welcome back to AM Northwest. You've heard about circadian rhythms, but what are they really and how do they work? And do we need to fix them? Here to share how answering those questions can improve your health, we welcome to AM Northwest the author of The Inner Clock, science journalist Lynne Peeples. Good to have you with us, Lynne.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'm curious as to how you got passionate about our inner body clock, essentially.
Yeah, well, I think it's been a lifelong passion that I wasn't even aware of.
Yeah.
Because growing up in Seattle, not so different from Portland, we get really short days.
Right.
We get really dark days. And my mood, my energy would just fluctuate across the year.
Right.
And go to school in the dark in high school, leave after basketball practice in the dark, you know, not seeing a lot of daylight.
Right.
And feeling pretty sluggish. But it wasn't until like a few years ago that I really started putting the pieces together. I got a tour of the Seattle Mariners locker room, and they had just installed Safeco Field, you know, now T-Mobile.
Right.
But they had just installed these strange new lights that they could adjust in color and intensity.
Wow.
And they were explaining how these were to help the players' circadian rhythms and energize them before the games.
Wow.
Calm them after.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? And could this explain, the circadian rhythm thing explain some of my like lifelong troubles?
Right.
And maybe there's tools I could use to fix them.
So explain what it is.
Yeah. So your circadian rhythms, you have trillions of timekeepers throughout your body. Basically every cell has a clock. And these clocks are ideally ticking in coordination to prime your body to do the right things at the right times. So whether that's metabolize food or defend the body against invading pathogens, all these things are by the clock. And there's ideal times for them because we can't do everything at all times. Our body just can't do it, doesn't have the energy. So, but for them to work right, they need to be regularly calibrated to the 24-hour Earth day with light and dark and other cues. But light and dark is the key.
Right. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? But the whole idea of having multiple time clocks is an interesting thing.
Right.
So how do you figure out what someone needs then? How much sleep they need, right?
Yeah, so we have a master clock in the brain.
Okay.
That's linked to the eyes, so it's getting that information about the light and dark. And it's helping kind of coordinate this whole symphony of clocks throughout the body. It's acting as the conductor. You can think of it as that. And so, but yeah, it's essentially the idea that we have all these clocks is because basically every system of your body is running on circadian rhythm. It needs that information. This is running so much of our physiology, which is why when it gets out of sync, which modern society has done to us, unfortunately, with our behaviors and our environments, that's when like it can just wreak havoc on so many body systems.
Everybody's different. So some people really do better early morning. Some people do better late in the evening, right? What do you suggest people do? Is like figure out who you are?
Yes, exactly.
Because you have a test you can take. Yeah,
there's tests you can take, and also you can just, I prescribe people to go on vacation and take a few days and, you know, get rid of your alarm clock and just see what your body naturally wants to do. Like, when do you want to go to sleep? When do you want to get up? When are you most energetic throughout the day?
Okay.
When are you most alert or, you know, ready to go for a run?
Right.
Take note of that and then see if there's any wiggle room in your day-to-day schedule to try to accommodate those hours, which is hard for a lot of us.
What are the biggest disruptors to our own circadian rhythm?
So the biggest is our indoor environment. I mean, most of us are spending 90+% of our time indoors.
Sure.
And these artificial lights do not compare to what nature provides outside.
Right.
The wavelengths and the intensity, just not even comparable.
What about like coffee, alcohol?
Yes and yes.
Yeah.
All these things. I mean, caffeine sticks in the system for a long time.
Right.
It can disrupt sleep. Alcohol, you know, especially close to bed, can totally derail your sleep as well. I've been tracking these things more closely, well, since writing this book.
Right.
And I mean, like with this Fitbit, I can see these patterns, these trends over time when I don't follow kind of circadian hygiene.
Right.
My sleep is, you know.
Have you determined what you are?
I'm kind of fortunate. I'm sort of in the middle. I'm called a dove according to some of these tests.
Right.
And so I don't lean too early or too late.
What if, like, our morning news people, that's a heck of a schedule. They're here so early in the morning. It's almost really the night before. Well, it is the night before. What do you say for someone who has to deal with that? How can they help alleviate some of that?
Right, and that's so many people, right? And
Right.
there's the shift workers. I would say, I mean, there's wiggle room in our circadian clocks. They're genetically programmed, but they're also influenced by our behavior and our environment. So the better they can do about getting light first thing in the morning, even if it's dark out, trying to find a sun lamp to get light, to get the body thinking it's daytime, maybe a little early, and then really focusing on cutting the lights at night. So any light at night for any of us can really disrupt sleep and disrupt our circadian rhythms.
Yeah.
So, but like trying to shift, artificial day maybe a little earlier for them could help mitigate some of that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you have a test that you offer that you suggest people take, determining what your rhythm is, right?
There's a Munich chronotype test.
Yeah.
Obviously I didn't create. They created in Munich. But yeah, I would. There's different versions of that you can try to take. And you can also just, like I said, pay attention to your own rhythm and see where your body naturally wants to go. Especially if you start paying attention to getting that light early, getting the, bringing in more darkness into your evenings, cutting off when you eat. So another biggie is when you eat during the day.
Yeah.
So if you stop eating 3 hours before bed, that's going to help your circadian rhythms too, and maybe help shift them earlier, for example, if you do.
And will that help people get to sleep better then?
Yes, absolutely. That will help the quality of your sleep.
Right.
As well as falling
And then
asleep.
do you find when people are in their correct circadian rhythm that they don't need an alarm clock, that they get up when their body tells them to?
That's the ideal. That's what the scientists, in today's society, we have practical limitations.
Yeah.
But the ideal world, none of us use an alarm clock.
Right.
And that's basically where the body wants to be.
I love it. We want to tell everyone you have a book event tonight at 7 at Palace City of Books on West Burnside. We're going to put all that information for everyone on our website at k82.com. The book again is titled The Inner Clock. Lynne Peeples, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away.